I'm going to give a first play to this little beauty. That's it. Tom Waits, Heartattack and Vine, 1980. Now, this was one of the two albums that introduced me to Tom Waits, and it was late 80s, to be honest with you. I'd not heard of him in the 80s, really, alas. But my mate Clive, he used to play this quite a lot in the car, and he was always raving on about this and Closing Time, which was Tom's debut album. So I was quite fortunate. This grew on me quite a lot before I was introduced to, which the next one was Frank's Wild Years. So, and before I went all Tom crazy, I'd quite absorbed this album quite a lot. That and Closing Time, I know the albums quite well. So, what do we know about Heartattack and Vine? Heartattack and Vine is the 6th studio album by Tom Waits, and his final album on the Asylum label with producer Bones Howe, that worked on a lot of Tom's albums. I think all the previous ones up until now. And I think the album title comes from where Tom was living at the time. He was living at Hollywood and Vine, but he moved to New York to record this. But New York, with all the everything going on and hustle and bustle, I think it all become a bit too much, so he went back, hence Heartattack and Vine. I think that's how it goes anyway. This was Tom's first album in the 80s, recorded between June and July 1980, and it was released September later that year. This was a complete shift from Tom's sort of beatnik, downtrodden, drunk lounge act, and it's quite often overlooked. And I think that's because of its difficulty to categorise it. And it was overshadowed, obviously, by Tom's follow-up albums, Sawfish Trombone, Rain Dogs, etc., and sounds quite different from his previous studio records. One of the new elements that shows that Tom was moving in a new direction was the use of an electric guitar, which is quite dominant on some of the tracks on here. And it gives some of the songs a more hardy, dirty sounding blues, quite gritty. And it was about this time that Tom met and fell in love with Kathleen Brennan. They met at a New Year's Eve party in Hollywood where Tom was making his acting debut in Sylvester Stallone's Paradise Alley. Tom Waits played Mumbles, the barroom piano player. Quite a good film, actually. I quite liked it. And then they met again during the making of Francis Ford Coppola's One from the Heart. Tom was composing the original soundtrack for the film with Crystal Gale, while Kathleen worked in the film studio as a script analyst. They got married later on that year. I think it was a whirlwind romance and love at first sight and all that. And what a collaboration. This photo was done by Greg Gorman, and the cover design was by Ron Caro. A beautiful, ugly, sleazy package. Perfect. Look at that, with all the writing on it and stains and all the headlines of the lyrics to the songs. Anyway, here he goes again. Should we get it on the record player? Let's do this. Man, some of them transitions are bloody hard work. Right, I'm going to get rid of these, because you know when I pull the vinyl out I do like to have a proper look. So I love that cover. It is pucker. Right, moment of truth, people. Like I said, I haven't played this, so, but it isn't new. It's not brand new, obviously. You can't get this new. Very rare to get it sealed anyway. So it's been put in one of them plastic jobbies. Oh, yeah. I've got the lyric sheet right there. Right, moment of truth. Here we go. Side one on the Asylum Records label, look. Wow, that is so clean. Considering it is 1980, look at that. Look at that. How sweet is that? What that's going on. as always, you know. This was bloody marvellous. Really enjoyed listening to this again. It was weird for me. There was a couple of surface scratches on it. Not scratches. You know when they get crackles on? Is there a way of getting rid of crackles? But there was only light. You could hear it a little bit on some of the early tracks. Obviously been played a few times. Don't blame them. And because I've only ever heard it on CD before and cassette, it was I noticed it. But no big deal. But anyway, let's get on with the tracks. Right, track 1. Heartattack and Vine. Liar, liar with your pants on fire. You can't beat that as an opening lyric to a song, can you? It's got some really raunchy, disjointed guitar licks and a sinister saxophone, and Tom's going all out. And it has one of my favourite weightisms. Don't you know there ain't no devil, there's just God when he's drunk. Kind of sets the tone of things to come. That's a great opening track. And the song was also covered by Screaming Jay Hawkins and featured in a Levi's commercial. Tom Waits sued in the European court over the use of his music, and he won. And a published apology from Levi was put out in 1993. Track 2, In Shades. This is the only instrumental one on here, and it feels like you're in a sort of smoke-filled after-hours jazz bar with a keyboard lead, and you can hear Tom faintly in the background, wah, 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 really faintly, and the song actually ends with a round of applause, so it does make you actually feel like you're sort of in there with them. But kind of cool. Track 3, Saving All My Love For You. And this is the first ballad on here, and it's not liked very much by his wife Kathleen. And I think the lyric, I paid $15 for a prostitute with too much makeup and a broken shoe. May have had something to do with it. The songs he does actually sing this one with a bit of a slur, like he's drunk way too much. And I think the song is very Charles Bukowski-esque, if you know what I mean. Too early for the circus, too late for the bars. Everyone's sleeping but the paper boys. Beautiful, beautiful song. I really like it. Then track 4, Downtown. And this is the archetypal Tom Waits of this period, led by a jazzy electric organ that has a real funky feel. And you can almost picture Tom strutting down Skid Row, describing everything he sees. It's loaded with like seedy romance, awesome imagery. How am I going to unload all this ice, all this mink, all this traffic on the street? And it's so hard to think. It's descriptions of Skid Row and the hustle and bustle. It's bang on the nail. And finally, track 5, Jersey Girl. Probably best known and covered by Bruce Springsteen, who did do an okay version of this. I mean, it's pretty good. But this is bloody gorgeous. It's a beautiful little love song describing how good he feels when he's with her. The Jersey Girl being Kathleen, his wife. Sheer brilliance. His description is so good. You can almost smell the Jersey air. Bloody marvellous. Then we flip over to Till the Money Runs Out. Now this has got like a hypnotising drum pattern, and it sort of builds up the tension, and Tom almost foaming at the mouth. Bloody brilliant. Can you hear the thunder? Someone stole my watch. I sold a quart of blood and bought a half a pint of scotch. How badass is that? Track 2, On the Nickle. And this is the second ballad on here. It paints one hell of a picture. It's a heartbreaking tale, full of high hopes, irony and dreams. Even Thomas Jefferson is on a nickel over there. Describing the face of the president on a coin in the gutter. It's genius. Simple as that. Also, On the Nickle was written for a motion picture of the same name. Written, produced and starring Ralph Waite. He was John Walton Sr. in a TV show, The Waltons. And I watched the trailer, and it looks like quite a good film about Skid Row. They called it On the Nickle in the film, by the looks of it. I haven't seen it yet, but it does look kind of cool. And you can hear Tom singing a little bit, a slightly different version, mind, on the end. I'll put a link downstairs so you can check it out. It does look kind of cool. 1980, On the Nickle. Track 3 opens up with some of the badass lines in music history. I spent all my money in a Mexican whorehouse across the street from a Catholic church. Then I wiped off my revolver and buttoned up my burgundy shirt. It's like he's stuck in a really immoral kind of life, but he's trying really hard to get out. And it's almost like he's questioning God. I got to ask ya, brave captain, why are the wicked so strong? It's a fair argument. And it's almost sung with a sort of drunken swagger. Bloody brilliant. And then it drifts slowly into the final track on here and the third ballad, Ruby's Arms. One of the most beautiful breakup songs ever written, about a soldier leaving his war love behind. And it is a truly heartfelt classic. So emotional. It's almost like he's holding back the tears when he's singing, so Jesus Christ, this goddamn rain, will someone put me on the train? I'll never kiss your lips again. Ooh, I get goosebumps every time I hear that bit. And it is a perfect closing and kind of goodbye. It is simply stunning, this album. And it does sound like a bit of a farewell, Heartattack and Vine, I think, you know. To like the old Tom Waits. It shows you like hints of things to come, things in the post, but it's definitely and also after he made this album, I know he got married, but I think it was a week before this came out actually. After he made this album, he never made nothing for like 3 years, and I think that was to let people absorb. And then obviously he came out with Sawfish Trombone, very avant-garde and completely different to what he'd been doing before. So this is quite a pinnacle point, really. And because of the sheer brilliance of the next three and all the other, and don't get me wrong, I love the early stuff. I really do love the early stuff. My favourite is, you know, but this is so overlooked. It's like the bastard middle child, really. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So, yeah, that's it for Heartattack and Vine. Top album. Worth checking out. Yeah. Next up, I suppose, will be Alice. Tom Waits' Alice. Remastered. Yeah, kind of looking forward to that. That's still sealed over there. Yeah, so I suppose that's it for today, guys, really. So, thanks for watching. Give us a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll be back with another ramble real soon. Bye now.
Say goodbye.